Right, hi everyone. In this video I am going to be talking about the training which I'm doing to get my qualification to fly my drones, my quadcopters, my multi-rotor commercially. So if any of you are not interested, skip the video, no problem. But if any of you that are thinking of buying something like a DJI Phantom or a bigger thing, a big kind of like a DJI S1000 and all that kind of stuff, if you want to fly commercially, you need to get a license and approval. And I so far have done two parts of my training course, so in this video I'm just talking about the things that I've done, the experiences that I've had, what my thoughts are, and how it's making me potentially change some things as well. So to get into it, there's two companies in the UK who provide the qualifications for you to get a license to fly commercially, and they are Euro USC or something like that, and the other one is Resource Group. I called up both beforehand, asked about the prices, where they do their training, the types of training that it involves with, and they're fairly similar, but a little bit different at the same time. In the end, I went with Resources Group. The guy on the phone, even though by the end of it, once you've tallied it all up of the ground school, the operations manual training, the actual flight assessment and all that kind of stuff, and the locations of where they're doing, even though they were a little bit more expensive, they just sounded a little bit better certainly over the phone. I have no experience with them in terms of actually meeting them or anything like that. So that's who I went with. I went with Resource Group, and they had a ground school training in Edinburgh. So I was like, brilliant, that's where I am. I'll be able to get to that, no problem. However, at the training course that I was at, it was a 3-day in-class training with an exam at the end. But even though it was in Edinburgh, and for me it was just down the road, not a problem, there's people coming from at least a 5-hour drive away. So people from the very tip of Scotland up in Caithness or Thurso, way up there, they were driving all the way down to Edinburgh, and some people all the way down as far down as like York, down in England, coming up to the course. So some people were staying in the hotel for the 3 nights as well. So it tallies up to be pretty expensive if you're doing it. So that's something to be aware of. If you want to fly commercially, you've really got to be thinking about your business plan as soon as possible after you've got your qualifications, or start making your business plan now so that you start kind of getting that money back that is cost you to get the qualifications. And the qualifications don't come straight away. It's not a case of, oh, I'll just read a book and I'll do a test. It's for me to get on this ground course, the first ones were all booked up, and then I actually went on this one, or booked myself in for this one in July, August, and it's now the end of October. So that was a good 4 months waiting until the training course. That was A, empty enough to get space, and B, close enough for me to actually be worthy of me travelling to. Because there was another one that was way down in London. I'm like, I'd have to travel all the way down to London, hotel for 3 days in London, all that kind of stuff. What a hassle. It wasn't London, it was somewhere around about there, kind of. And with Resource Group, they had what they considered to be a 9 hours of web-based training to give me some hints and tips and all that kind of stuff. So that was good. They had, I think we just kind of logged in, and almost like a PowerPoint presentation of lots of different things, going from the effects of GPS, the different types of GPS, your types of how your machines move, so with the speed of the blades, or is the pitch of the blades, the angle of attack, talking about aerofoils, talking about yaw, pitch, roll, learning about all those certain things. And a lot of it didn't really apply to what my plan was. So they're telling us a lot about how a helicopter flies. I'm like, I don't really need to know this, but again, it was actually very interesting to find out what all this kind of stuff was. There would be little exams throughout the actual web-based training, and at the end, so you can just see, yes, good, I can see how much my brain is able to retain of this information. There's also a lot of stuff about map reading as well, and again, in my head I was like, do I really need to know how to do map reading? I'm really just going to be like in a place going up and down. It's not that much issue. But again, it was just good stuff to learn and know. Especially if you are doing this commercially, you may have somebody who's going, can you go to this location? Can you go there? And from what we all learnt on the course, it's like, it's not a case of just go to a location, do a fly. It's like, no, you've got to go to a location, find out your NOTAMs, notice to airmen's, and find out any obstructions, any restrictions, any GPS problems, any high intensity frequency issues, all that kind of stuff. So it's actually a case of like, oh right, okay, fair enough, in what I've done so far, this is all way overkill, but I can totally understand how if I do get a bigger job, or if a company says, we need you to fly and do surveys of these pylons somewhere, you need to kind of go, right, we need to be looking all about the METs, the NATs, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, yeah, I understand you. Although this may be more than what I need just now, it may not be more than what I need in the future. That's for sure. And it was a lot about kind of pre-deployment surveys and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, this is becoming pretty serious. The course, I think in total is about 1,600, I think, as the one that I've paid for. Unfortunately, I didn't have to do any travelling or any hotel stays for me, so that wasn't too bad. However, it was 3 days of in a class, so if you have another job or something, you're going to have to start saying, right, I need 3 days off work to do this. And it wasn't at the weekend, it was during the week, during work hours. So yeah, so we got our ground course book, memorised all of that, no problem. And we had an exam at the end where the pass mark was 70%, and that was quite interesting. Everyone was like, oh, really nervous, but it is a bit of a case, because the other thing was, everyone in the course, middle-aged men, well, middle to old-aged men. There wasn't really anybody like early 20s in there. It's all people that pretty much have their business head on. And also, if you're thinking about doing it, I'm going, if I just turn up my Phantom, am I going to look like a total tit? No, you're not. You may look like a tit if you have something smaller than a Phantom, because effectively doing anything smaller than a Phantom, you're restricted so much by wind speed and environmental factors that you can't really fly anything. So I would say pretty much everyone in there had a Phantom at least. As I myself, Phantom only. There's a couple other people just going, yeah, just got a Phantom, flying it. One guy saying, I've got a Phantom and I've got an S900 on the way tomorrow. And now he's kind of thinking, the S900 now becomes a major issue because of its certain weight categories and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of kind of learning going on there, which might just kind of go, right, we're really evaluating. It was a lot of kind of like evaluating, what do you really need for your business kind of stuff. Is it a bigger platform, or is it just a better camera? Is it an infrared camera? Is it thermal imaging kind of thing, or is it like a high definition video, or is it photos, or do you really need to carry a Panasonic GH4 with the lens and all that kind of stuff, or actually can you just do everything with a GoPro or something like that? So it was good, kind of like for me, I'm looking at the DJI like S900 and S1000 going, oh, they are so cool, but at the same time I'm going, for my work, totally don't need that. I have absolutely no plans of flying anything during the women with Halloween paint on there. I have absolutely no plans of flying in any situations other than really calm weather. So if it was a case of like, we need roof surveys any time of the year, you kind of go, right, I need a bigger rig for that kind of stuff. And the type of people that were on the course, so yeah, all kind of middle-aged men, not a single woman anywhere, and businesses were ranging from a lot of photography, video guys, some people just thinking of getting into property videos, other ones who have done like film stuff. There's a guy from ITN who like is like off to Brazil to shoot football matches and all that kind of stuff, and he does all of Scotland. There was a guy who is potentially doing power line cable information. So if you've got electricity running through a power line, that might be an issue. You've got another one who was talking about like he films fly fishers, like fishingtackle.com or something like that, and a lot of kind of like roof surveys or building contracts as well, saying, I mean, we need you to find out the location of our area, how much we need, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a varied stuff. It wasn't just all, I want to take some photos of my garden. It was proper, like, yeah, we've got business plans going on here. We've developed our websites. We're developing here's our business cards, and there's a good bit of networking going on as well. So everyone was, it was very positive with everyone, and there was a real kind of atmosphere of everyone going, we're in a team now. We're all should be contacting with one another. If I've got a job which you can't do, cool, I know that you're qualified. I can just refer you to go do the job instead. And it was good. It was good business practice. And yeah, it was good networking as well going on there. What I would say is, so throughout the 3-day course, the guys that were training us were ex-military. And very, very good. Like they knew their stuff like the back of their hand, but not to the point of being bored. You know, sometimes you get a teacher that's taught you over and over and over, and they're just like, yeah, whatever, here it is. Or you get teachers who are inherently frustrated with the system. They understand our frustration with, why is it 400 feet and not 500 meters and blah, blah, blah. They were very accommodating to understanding our frustrations of going, why is it this? Why do I need this for SUSA instead of an SUA? And they explained it all very well. And they also said, look, we've got some frustrations with it as well, but that's just the way it is. And it was a real kind of idea of like dealing with the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority, of just changing our idea of going, oh, they're just dicks that are trying to get everyone in trouble, to going, nah, actually, they're on our side, they're just trying to make everything safe, and they're not really being dicks. So there was a kind of like, okay, CAA, yeah, I'm down with them now. I don't think of them just some like dicks that are trying to ruin everyone's fun. And it seems like the British CAA is so much more less dick, or so much like good guys compared to the American FAA or the Spanish ones. Seemingly in Spain, you need to actually, they've just closed down airspace to drones, saying, no, you can't do it. If you want to do it, you need to start up your own airline. So yeah, they're just like, nah, you can't do it. And in America as well, again, the FAA, they just went, oh, cancel. It's just, oh, but what the heck's going on? Oh, just cancel everything. And they've only given contracts to about 3 companies in the whole of America, so that they're actually legally allowed to do any drone flying. So yeah, in fact, if you see any drone flights in America being done commercially, that's totally, unless it's one of the, I think maybe it's 3 or 4 companies that said have got the license to do it, but other than that, nobody else is allowed to do it commercially. And that's a lot of the little details there. It is all about commercial. So we got taught about the fundamentals of flying, how you fly, the skills of flying that are required, but also then we talked about a lot about the legal stuff. So the CAP documents, CAP 393 and CAP 722, which is guidance. The Air Navigation Order, which is that's 393. Then the articles 166, 167. That's talking about the rules regarding unmanned aerial vehicles and SUA small, SUSA small unmanned surveillance aircraft. That's for number 167. And we also then started talking about SRG 1601, which is your mandatory occurrence reporting scheme. So if you are having an incident, or you've had an air prox, so in other words, if you fly somewhere and you almost hit a plane and all that kind of stuff, or if your helicopter just goes tits and like flies off somewhere, what you do with it. Talking about how you've got to figure out what is your maximum working distance of your quad if it does go rogue. I like that phrase, I'm going to use that a bit more. If it goes rogue, what kind of airspace could it be potentially getting into? We got taught about all the different types of airspaces and where they are, like military airspaces. You've got aerodromes, you've got all that kind of stuff. So it was good finding out about all this. So yeah, so in total, aspects of flying, or like the functions of like how it flies, the legal stuff, also what makes a good airmanship, what makes you a good pilot, and it's all about self-improvement, and they're all very much pro the idea of like you've got to be out practicing all the time. So it's not a case of, hello, you're on this course, you haven't completed it yet, you're not allowed to fly. They're like, no, you've got to be practicing all the time. Try and get at least an hour's worth of training every month of actual flight. Not, oh, it's taking me an hour to get there, I've done 5 minutes of flying and back. It's like, no, you've got to do like 20 flights every month, just so that your dexterity and also a lot of things they're saying is that, right, you need to work your fail-safes. So you need to do your return to homes. You need to have the confidence of going, right, I'm just turning off my controller, it's going to fly back. So for me, I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to press the return to home just in case it doesn't return to home. But they're talking about, well, you've got to figure out your other fail-safes, your other redundancy measures. So it's not just a case of fly in GPS, it's a case you've got to be able to do fly in GPS and in ATI mode. You've got to know your fail-safe of return to home if everything cuts out. But at the same time, I've also put into my Phantom the manual mode, which cuts out everything. So even the gyros inside the helicopter are ignored, because that's one of the issues. I think a lot of the potential flyaways that have happened is that somebody's gone from GPS to ATI mode, and or if the GPS is going, oh, or satellite's going that way and it just goes tits, then you go into ATI mode. But if in ATI mode it goes tits as well, it could be the case that one of the gyros inside the actual quadcopter is malfunctioning, and it thinks, oh, I think I'm stuck at this tilt. Meanwhile, your helicopter's like that, so it will fly totally that way. The only way to get over that is to bring it into a manual mode where it cuts out all of that, and you have to fly it like a full-on helicopter, and it's really, really difficult. I haven't practiced it yet. I've set it up on my controller so it does that, but I haven't had any good weather for me to practice it in. But that is my fail-safe, and that's the oh my god, everything's gone wrong, this is what I do. And it's a case of, maybe if I do that and I've managed to stabilize it for 10 seconds, I'll quickly put it back to ATI mode or GPS to see if that's fixed it. But that's the kind of like, shit's hit the fan, and the only way to get out of this is to potentially put myself in deeper shit. But yeah, so it was good to kind of like, guys, this is what you're going to have to be trained on, this is what you need to know, because if your platform does go rogue and you are near an airport, do you know the phone number to call the air traffic control tower and say, guys, we've got rogue plane flying in your direction, this is the height it can go, this is its weight, this is its kinetic energy, this is the potential speed, just kind of information to pass on that. So there's a lot of kind of like, oh yeah, I've never thought about all these things which I would need to actually figure out beforehand. There's a whole pile of other stuff about pre-deployment surveys and on-site surveys and risk management surveys and all that kind of stuff. So from a business point of view, from a hobby point of view, it's like, oh, what the feck is all that? This is so much bullshit going on here. But from a business point of view, I would say it looks great, going, look, I can't fly, I can do this. Or if you've got a client going, I need you to fly up there just now, I'm like, right, we need to go over this risk management survey. Like, if that does go wrong, if a wind does blow over that way, what distances do you want me to be, and all that kind of stuff. So it was good kind of going, yeah, this brings it, not only like your flying skills are one aspect, but your professionalism is another aspect which could potentially increase your business look, business professionalism. Yeah, I don't know another way to describe it, but it's, if you come up onto a job with a whole bunch of surveys, checklists that you're doing this right, that right, making sure batteries are charged, that props are clean, that motors are ready to go, and like wind speed, and checking for any radio interference and all that kind of stuff, you look good. So I was like, I get that. And if you have a logbook, which you also need, of how many hours you've trained, that can be an advert for yourself, saying I've clocked up 50 hours worth of flight time. So yeah, there's although some of it does seem like a total faff for the hobbyist, if you're the businessman, you'd be like, actually, this is pretty solid stuff, and looks good and covers my back in so many situations. There's a lot of stuff that we're taught about where shit has hit the fan with expensive gear, and people have had to ditch stuff. So they're talking about some guy at the X Factor auditions, and he was saying, look, I want to do a fly at the X Factor O2 Arena. If anything goes wrong, I'm going to ditch it in the Thames. And lo and behold, he flew it, it went up, it went rogue, and he ditched it in the Thames. And instead of kind of going, oh, you idiot, the CAA were like, good man, you totally did exactly what you said in your operations manual or in your special circumstances thing. You did that very well, good for you. Instead of thinking, what an idiot, why did you go rogue? So yeah, it was good, and I think it definitely it's changed both myself and what a lot of other people will be doing in the future, in terms of speed, distances, locations, and like distance of actual flights, and distances to and from either buildings, objects, or people. Yeah, it's definitely changed it. And everyone that came out of the ground school, everyone that had passed, all had the idea of like, actually, this was really good. Although expensive, we've kind of really been taught. They had some great videos as well of like crashes going wrong. We've really been taught kind of like, yeah, this is not a toy, and if we're doing this as a business, if we fuck this up, it's more than just, oh, I've lost £1,000 worth of helicopter. It's actually potentially, I've lost my business, and oh, there goes my family life because I'm now unemployed and I've got a massive £6,000 fine on me and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there is very much a difference of, I'm just doing it for a hobby to, oh, I'm doing it as a business, and that's kind of what this training course. So if you're just wanting to fly a helicopter for fun and not really do anything with it, absolutely fine. No, they don't really care. But if you're wanting to do this as a business, it's really a case of like, you need to know exactly what you're doing, how to cover your back, how to mitigate as many circumstances as possible, how to be as safe as possible, so that if it does go rogue, or the wind takes it, or you have an air prox or anything like that, how you report it, who you call, and just all that kind of stuff. So it was really, really good, and really nerve-wracking at the same time. So there's a lot of extra work. There's still a lot of work to go. I've still got to do the operations manual. I've got to get the insurance, which is a minimum of 2 million liability as well. They gave us links to all that kind of stuff. I've got to do my FRCs, which is your flight reference cards, possibly a loading book, a loading manual. I can't remember what that one was. Just like, here's all the things I need to have all checked. A pre-flight checklist. So there's loads of stuff still to do. But if you're thinking of doing drone flights commercially for profit, it A, steps up your game, B, steps up your safety, C, makes you more pro, I would definitely say, and D, probably makes you want to put your prices up. But also it just focuses you to kind of go, I need a business. I'm not just here to do this as a little thing I do on the side on Saturdays. It's like, this is actually a whole business plan. But at the same time, it just goes, it's a whole business, doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I need a DJI S1000 or I need a Octi quadcopter thingamabob. It's actually, no, you can do all this with just a Phantom, but you need to figure out all your extra safeguards and fail-safes going on there. But yeah, I would highly recommend the resource group. Oh yeah, what was that? Crash site diagrams and all that kind of stuff. So it was in depth. It was long, so 9 hours worth of web training, 3 days worth of ground school, and I've still got loads to still do. But worth it, yes. Beneficial, yes. Gonna make me a safer pilot, yes. Even if it is just a case of, I now know who to call. Ghostbusters! We got a call. Then it's good info going on there. So yeah, I would recommend them. But I would also say that a lot of us were thinking, actually, after doing this, we think everyone should be on this course. Even if you are just the hobbyists kind of stuff, especially with the tech that there is at the moment. And also the amount of tits which are out there really fucking things up with like flying over football stadiums and getting arrested. But to get to that stadium, they flew over a road, and then they flew over an actual playing football game where the police came and arrested him. Or the other one who he flew just over a bridge and then crashed into a nuclear submarine station. And he was like, oh no, it was out of my control, I lost control. It's like, well, you should have had a failsafe, or you should have had somebody to call, or but and then they actually said, no, you're lying. It was actually you were controlling that, you were just trying to do it closer to the bridge. So there is a kind of idea of like, there's a lot of these situations where we kind of go, if everyone had been on our course, then there wouldn't be that much shit going on in the media just now. And not just British media, talking about American media as well, and Europe going on. So yeah, I would recommend them. And if you're definitely thinking of making a business, 100% you've got to do it. Otherwise, not only are you going to be in danger of being dangerous, but also you're going to have other people going, what's your CAA password code? What's your reference number? Oh, you don't have one. Oh, you're flying illegally. Oh, hello CAA. I believe this person's doing commercial flights, getting paid for it, and has no qualifications whatsoever. Would you like to investigate them? Here's their phone number. So I think it may very well in the near future become a self-regulating system. I think some people may be self-regulating to make sure that everyone is qualified in some sort of way, at least have the minimum level of qualifications. A bit like a CBT thing. If you're doing a motorbike, you need to have some form of education on it. So yeah, that was my experience. Fairly expensive, fairly long, still got loads to do. Very worth it, and definitely going to make me a safer pilot. So there you go. Hope that helps. Cheers. Bye bye.